Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to our guests today. Thank you for the candid testimony. And Ms. Aberg, while you were testifying and I actually was doing a little other research, reading some articles about what all happened, and I think to Mr. Herodopoulos' comments, unbelievable the way the company was treated. And I do want to thank you again for the efforts you all made in Western North Carolina after Helene. That was very helpful to allow commerce to pick back up. So thank you for those efforts. That cannot be expressed enough. It always strikes me as odd. You think about it, roughly a third of all Americans either own or use digital assets in some manner. So this isn't some fleeting thing that's going to go away. And there are those who look at it and they resist technology. Well, guess what? If we banned automobiles, we'd have 40,000 less deaths a year. But that's not, we're not going to get rid of cars, I don't think. So there's inherent risk in certain technologies. But the guidelines and the proposals and the law that's being worked on with respect to, of course, the Genius and then with Clarity are designed to do that. So it's understandable why companies, with the failure, particularly the 4 years before under the Biden administration, were having to look to go offshore. So I think it's important that we work hard to bring that stability, and that's why I'm proud of what this committee has done and what the House has done to pass this legislation. But it did bring me to another question, Ms. Aberg, and that is, it's clear why the market structure is important for financial firms. But tell me about when it comes to companies who are developing blockchain applications outside of traditional finance. Why is it important to have these guidelines as well for them?
It's critical. For pretty much our history embodies why it is so critical. The SEC sued Nova Labs over allegations that the hotspots, so hardware, could be plugged in, and in exchange the deployer of that hardware could earn tokens. It also said that users of a mobile phone plan, that was also an unregistered securities offering, because the user of that phone plan could potentially earn tokens if they voluntarily opted into a program where they provided useful information for mapping the network. We're trying to build infrastructure. We're not trying to raise capital through selling tokens. We've never actually sold tokens in the secondary market other than OTC sales that were constructed with to be Regulation D compliant. Clarity defines and allots tokens that are used to run functional networks like ours to the regulation under the CFTC. The CFTC still has its full regulatory toolkit and can bring claims for fraud, manipulation, and abuse in the sale and purchase of those tokens like it always has been. I don't think Clarity is a call for deregulation. I think it's a call for the right regulation per the right regulator. And without that clarity, infrastructure projects like ours are not going to be durable in the United States. We need the certainty of legislation codified into law that cannot be changed at the whim of whoever happens to be sitting at the chair of the SEC or the White House.
And so to your point, of course, jurisdictions like the European Union, Singapore, the UK, Hong Kong, and the Emirates have aggressively moved to establish clear digital asset frameworks. Mr. Salmon-Sato, would bring me to you. What lessons can Congress learn from the jurisdictions that have already adopted these digital asset regulatory frameworks, and where have those frameworks succeeded or fallen short?
I mean, I think the key lesson is more the initiative, right? It is the recognition that there's something novel here and that the markets are developing in a way that requires some kind of regulation, and that there are jurisdictions that have kind of leaned into that and said, okay, we're going to tackle this problem. And we recognize that kind of existing regulation is being tested in a way that we can't just rely on some of the principles that have been there. And so, one, I think it's that that lesson of, hey, you need to take the initiative, and that comes down to Congress. And then I think the second part is, naturally markets are global environments, right? It's very difficult to put jurisdictional boundaries around markets, and that requires, all the regulators to kind of come together and be able to marry where that makes sense, and that requires, again, that initiative to put some regulatory environment in place.
And in that same thing, just as a follow-up on that, why would you say it's important that any market structure legislation preserve the ability of decentralized finance to innovate while ensuring there is the regulatory oversight focus where there are risks.
Yeah, I mean, for us, that is the core innovation here, right? It is the development of a network that is permissionless to participate in and to be able to transfer value in a peer-to-peer fashion, right? It is the truth that there has been a large development of financial institutions and technology firms building in this environment. But even without those, the technology is still important, and that requires the protection of those people who want to participate at that level.
Thank you, and my time has expired, Mr. Chairman.